Welcome to the debate. Today, we're tackling something that's, well, it's really exploding in global media, the adaptation of boys' love stories, or BL, into screen dramas. And there's this critical divergence in how they're made. It really comes down to the source material. Is it better to start with a visually rich webtoon or a text-heavy novel?
Yeah, and that question really gets to the core of it, right? It's about what we prioritize. Are we looking for something that satisfies an existing visual expectation, or are we trying to build, genuine emotional investment from the ground up?
Exactly. So I guess the central question we're asking is, does the inherent visual structure of webtoons make for better BL adaptations? Or does the psychological depth you can only really get from novels lead to stronger, more meaningful shows? And my position is pretty clear. I think webtoons provide a ready-made visual blueprint that makes production smoother, faster, and ultimately gives you the faithful adaptations that audiences really want.
And I'm going to argue that the extra work, the labor of interpretation that a novel demands, is exactly what produces a superior result. For me, novels provide that essential psychological depth, that internal truth that results in richer, more emotionally resonant, and, frankly, more mature dramas.
Okay, so let's get into that. I understand the appeal of internal truth, but we have to talk about the practical side of making a show. Webtoons are visual narratives from the get-go. They function almost like a pre-made storyboard. This is what I call the blueprint advantage. A director, a cinematographer, even the actors, they can look at a panel and instantly get the mood, the emotional beat, the character blocking. You don't have to invent a whole visual language from scratch. It's already there.
But isn't that a crutch, in a way? It sounds like you're bypassing the creative challenge of actually adapting something.
I'd say it's not bypassing, it's guaranteeing fidelity. And that's huge for fan engagement. Think about aesthetic consistency. You have the character designs, the specific silhouettes, the fashion. It's all there. Casting directors have a crystal clear guide. I mean, look at a show like Semantic Error. Fans went wild because it looked just like the webtoon. That's the power of the blueprint. It manages expectations and, honestly, it cuts down on the huge risk of miscasting.
Okay, that's a fair point on the external look, on fidelity. I'll give you that. But I still believe internal truth is what matters most. A novel it immerses you in the inner lives of the characters, their hidden fears, their desires, their past traumas, all their private thoughts. That's all material that webtoons, because they're constrained by the panel format, often just have to gloss over or reduce to a symbol. When you adapt from a novel, the characters just feel more layered, more real. The drama isn't just relying on pretty pictures. It's building emotion from the inside out.
But the structure of webtoons is so powerful, especially for how we watch things now. The pacing, short chapters, quick emotional hits, cliffhangers. It perfectly matches the short format drama series that are thriving in Korea and Thailand. The bingeable structure is practically built in. It doesn't need a ton of restructuring from screenwriters, which means the final show feels clean, tight, and just super consumable right away.
I'm just not convinced that super consumable is the same thing as good long-form storytelling. In fact, that kind of rapid-fire pacing often happens at the expense of any real thematic weight. Novel-based dramas, when they're done right, they just have a gravity to them, a maturity. The source material had the space, hundreds of pages, to explore really complex ideas, like navigating a queer awakening, or dealing with grief, or intense family pressure. And when you transfer that well to the screen, you get a story that isn't just a romance. It's meaningful. It stays with you.
That complexity can get messy on screen, though. The smooth adaptation of a webtoon is a direct line to watchability and success. The emotional impact is already optimized for speed.
But that optimization can shortchange the actors. When an actor has access to a character's detailed motivations, their inner monologues, even if none of it is spoken out loud, it gives them this incredible foundation to build on. It allows for those subtle shifts in behavior, a tiny expression, a hesitation in their posture that take the drama beyond just looking good. They aren't just copying a pose from a drawing. They're embodying the reason for that pose.
Okay, I think this really gets to the heart of our disagreement, the value of that instant recognition versus the value of deep interpretation. I'm arguing that the smoothness and speed of adaptation, the fact that a webtoon is already pre-visualized, is a massive advantage. Commercially, for sure. The visual satisfaction is immediate, the adaptation feels familiar right away, and that's critical for getting a built-in fan base excited and watching.
And that's a great argument for a business strategy, but ease of adaptation doesn't automatically mean it's better art. Novels demand more interpretation, absolutely. The screenwriter has to figure out how to show that internal monologue, how to make loneliness visible on screen without just using a voiceover. But that work, that effort, is rewarded with a richer, more textured narrative. The creative team has to actually engage with the material on a deeper level, and that ensures the final show relies on emotional subtext, not just, hitting the same visual beats from the comic.
I think you're selling the visual symbolism of webtoons a little short. They use color, can lay out visual metaphors to convey emotion just as richly as text can. And let's be honest, the risk of a badly interpreted novel is huge. A director can completely miss the point, and you end up with a show that's slow or aimless or feels disconnected. The Webtoon blueprint helps mitigate that risk.
Risk mitigation is the perfect phrase, but it often leads to safe, predictable choices. Let's go back to pacing. You praise the Webtoon structure for being fast and high impact, but doesn't that inherently limit the space for real character development? The rapid-fire, episodic nature means everything has to happen so quickly.
That's not a limitation, it's optimization for the medium. In BL today, especially in the Korean and Thai markets, viewers expect a fast pace and a conclusion in 8 to 12 short episodes. The Webtoon format is naturally suited for that. It delivers clean, tight arcs. We're talking about watchability tailored for a modern viewer.
But where's the depth in that? A novel adaptation gives you space for what you could call a slow burn development. I mean, look at a drama like The Untamed. It's based on a novel with this immense internal lore, incredibly complex backstories. Its success wasn't instantaneous. It built over time because the story was allowed to breathe and really explore things like political trauma and brotherhood across 50 episodes.
But The Untamed is a huge outlier. It had an enormous production budget and commitment. Most BLs don't have that luxury. For a production company that needs to be efficient, adopting a novel of that scale it's often not financially possible. The Webtoon model, which gives you these quick, high-impact stories, is a much more sustainable commercial choice.
And that's exactly my point. Commercial sustainability is driving the structure, but it shouldn't be the sole definition of quality. When an adaptation just follows the Webtoon's plot points like a checklist, it can sacrifice the emotional tissue that connects those points. The psychology is what holds the story together. It's the why, not just the what.
I think you're still underestimating the emotional engineering that's built right into the Webtoon's visual language. It's not just a sketch. There is so much intentional appeal crafted into every single choice. The specific angles used in intimate moments, the use of silent panels, the staging of a confession. When a casting team is looking for a specific vibe, that vibe is a legitimate character trait. It's not just about what they look like.
I agree the aesthetic chemistry can be captured beautifully, but external charm isn't the same as internal truth. The real test of a mature adaptation is how well it handles nonverbal communication that's rooted in deep motivation. An actor in a novel-based adaptation, someone working on a show like The Eighth Sense, they have access to the deep-seated reasons for their character's fear of intimacy. That background lets them convey these subtle nuances that elevate the drama beyond just surface chemistry into something genuinely powerful. They can communicate layers of hesitation or desire that go far beyond what a drawing can suggest.
That external clarity, though, is what an audience reads as chemistry, and that's often the main thing people judge success on in this genre. Webtoon adaptations nail this. They deliver the emotional payoff people are expecting because those moments of connection are so precisely rendered.
But the lasting power comes from understanding why that connection matters. The novel gives the actor the whole emotional landscape, the trauma that makes a character hesitant, the loneliness that drives them to reach out. That emotional architecture gives the story a weight that a visual blueprint, no matter how detailed, really struggles to replicate on its own. It's what turns a show from a fun watch into a profound journey.
To sum up my position then, Webtoons prioritize visual immediacy, aesthetic chemistry, and fast-paced storytelling. They offer a really effective, low-friction path for adaptation, which ensures the final show is watchable, visually satisfying, and meets the fans' expectations. The blueprint is simply the most efficient and reliable way to get a successful show to market today.
And to summarize my stance, while Webtoons offer that powerful visual clarity, novels prioritize emotional depth and psychological nuance. They demand more intellectual work, maybe more artistic courage from the creative team, but the result is often a story that feels more cohesive, mature, and rich.
Novels offer the deepest emotional groundwork, allowing actors and directors to create truly powerful screen narratives that often stand the test of time.
So it seems our disagreement still really centers on the primary goal of adaptation. My focus is on visual clarity and an efficient, faithful translation for a modern audience.
And mine is on the enduring value of internal truth and psychological maturity, which I believe provides the foundation for real narrative impact.
Ultimately, we're comparing two very different storytelling cultures. Neither one is inherently superior, they just optimize for different strengths. Absolutely. The Webtoon provides the visual map, and the novel provides the internal landscape. And maybe the most exciting future for BL storytelling lies in blending those two, taking the clear visual language of a Webtoon and somehow infusing it with the profound emotional complexity that, for now, novels have the space to develop.
Leaving our listeners to think about which matters more to them, immediate satisfaction or enduring depth.
Thanks so much for watching. If you enjoyed the video, please consider liking, commenting, and subscribing. It really helps the channel grow. See you in the next one.